YouTube, what is going on? It is your boy Sports Culture, and I am back with another video here today. And today is Monday mock draft, and I thought, why not give my first round mock draft for the 2025 NFL Draft class out today. I've made a lot of team mock drafts. I've been making a lot of them even offline that I don't post, and I feel like I have a solid understanding of what a lot of NFL teams will do, and I feel like it's way easier to make a first round mock draft, especially because free agency is, at least to this point, basically over. I feel like most of the big players did sign. You still got obviously some good players out there, but I feel like most of the big name guys did sign, and we kind of have an understanding of what NFL teams are going to be doing going into the NFL draft. So without further ado, man, let's get right into this video. There are going to be no trades in this video. It's already hard to predict what teams are going to be doing in terms of their draft pick. So making trades and doing trades and all that would just get a little bit too complicated, in my opinion, to get OD in this video and to make it super long. Maybe down the line I'd make a video, or I will make a mock draft where I do trades. Definitely be more of a realistic mock draft. But without further ado, man, let's get right into this video. If you're interested in more mock draft videos and just draft and style videos for this draft class and future draft classes upcoming, please consider subscribing. But let's get right into this. So here we are with the first overall selection for the Tennessee Titans. And I'm going to make this super fast. I'm going to go through every pick as fast as I can. I really don't want to drag this video out. First overall selection, Cam Ward. If I had to bet on any pick come draft week, because nothing's really guaranteed, but if I had to bet on any pick to happen come draft week, it would be Cam Ward, number 1 overall to the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans need a quarterback. Will Levis is definitely not the guy. And yes, this is maybe a weaker quarterback class, and maybe Cam Ward, if he was in another draft class or lined up with some more talented quarterbacks, maybe wouldn't be the top guy or a top 5, top 10 selection. But in a weak quarterback class, if you're a team that's quarterback needy, just like the Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward is easily the best quarterback in this year's draft class, and he's worth the first round selection or the first overall pick if you need a quarterback. So with this pick, we are going Cam Ward. It just makes a ton of sense. This is a team that needs a quarterback, and we're going to do that for them. They also have been making a lot of moves on the offensive line too, so I just feel like it's perfect time now, or the perfect time to go out there and get a quarterback. And that's Cam Ward. Next pick, same thing. Shedeur Sanders, number 2 overall to the Cleveland Browns. Was going to go Abdul right here. Really was. But I feel like the Cleveland Browns are a team that also is not going to leave the NFL draft without drafting a quarterback. This is the team that desperately needs a quarterback. And Shedeur Sanders is the second best quarterback in this year's draft class. Maybe not as worth drafting in the top 5 or top 10 in my opinion as a Cam Ward. But this is a team that desperately needs a quarterback, and Shedeur Sanders is easily the second best quarterback in this year's draft class, in my opinion. Next pick right here, we're gonna go Abdul to the New York Giants. I was gonna go Travis Hunter here. I think Travis Hunter would be a phenomenal pick as well, but I thought about Abdul and Brian Burns on both edges, and I just thought about how you could how are you supposed to block that? How are you supposed to block that speed coming from both sides? I don't think you can. So this just feels like a very fun pick. They missed out on both quarterbacks, so it just makes sense. They go out there and get, in my opinion, the best player or the second best player in this year's draft class in Abdul. And I feel like if you're a Giants fan and you miss out on Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders and you have Travis Hunter and Abdul right in front of you, either player is a win-win. You really can't go wrong with either guy. So with this pick, we're going Abdul. Next pick, we're going Travis Hunter to the New England Patriots. I love this pick for the Patriots. I know they signed Carlton Davis. They have Christian Gonzalez, one of the more talented and younger ascending cornerbacks in the league, but they could add another guy into that room, definitely. And Travis Hunter is not just a cornerback. He could play wide receiver, as we know. I don't need to go too far depth into that. But he could do both. And this is a team that also needs a wide receiver. And Travis Hunter, to some, is considered the wide receiver 1 in this year's draft class. So it just makes a lot of sense. He gives this team a lot of versatility, a lot of flexibility to play him either a wide receiver, which they desperately need more weapons in, or a cornerback, which they could definitely add another guy into that room. Next pick right here, Mason Graham. I really do like this pick for the Jaguars. This team needs just more guys on that defense. They were abysmal last year, and they have Josh Hines Allen on one edge. They have Trayvon Walker on the other edge. They can use somebody on that interior, and Mason Graham is the best interior defensive lineman in this draft class. It just makes a lot of sense. Next pick right here is Ashton Jeanty to the New England Patriots. What am I talking about? To the Las Vegas Raiders. I really like this pick for Las Vegas. Ashton Jeanty is the best running back in this year's draft class. Super explosive, super physical. This Raiders team traded for Geno Smith, who's, in my opinion, a top 12, top 15 quarterback in the NFL. Very, very accurate. this Raiders team has a very talented and ascending player in Brock Bowers, who's only going to be getting better from here on out, and is probably going to be the best wide receiver not wide receiver, the best tight end in the NFL for a lot of years to come. So it just makes a lot of sense. Make this what I think is going to be a very solid offense on paper. Make it even more explosive with the pickup of Ashton Jeanty in this draft class. Next pick right here, we are going to get the first tackle off the board, and then it's Armand Membou, the tackle from Missouri. I feel like he's the safest and healthiest pick in terms of tackles in this year's draft class. And the Jets just signed Justin Fields. We could definitely go out there and like get them a Tetairoa McMillan to give Justin Fields another weapon with Garrett Wilson out there, but they need to protect Justin Fields. You're not going to really know what you have from Justin Fields if you can't protect him. And we saw what happened in Chicago when he really didn't have that great of protection. He just didn't do great against, pressure. So it just makes a lot of sense to go out there and get a tackle and a guy like Armand Membou. Next pickup right here, I'm not going to lie. This was a tough one. I didn't know who I was going to go with. I really like this team to get an edge. They could use another pass rusher. Could use another guy that could just help stop the run on the edge. Was really thinking about even going with Tetairoa McMillan right here. This team could use a wide receiver 1 for Bryce Young. But I'm going to go with Jahdae Barron, the cornerback from Texas. I love him for this defensive scheme. Him, J.C. Horn together, to me, that's a very tough and very high energy and physical cornerback duo right there. And I just feel like Jahdae Barron, J.C. Horn, for the next 5-8 years at the cornerback position for the Carolina Panthers would be very fun to watch. This was more of a, I'm not gonna lie, like when I made the selection, I was thinking about players I'd like to see play with other players on the play with the Carolina Panthers players. And Jahdae Barron and J.C. Horn, when I thought about them two together playing at the cornerback position, I honestly smiled. It just made me smile. That's a Madden pairing right there. So with this pick, we are going Jahdae Barron. This Saints team is weird. They could use a lot of things. I think they just need a weapon. They definitely just need somebody to get them some yards, be a chain mover, but more importantly, be a guy you could give the ball to besides Alvin Kamara, and things can happen. And I think Tyler Warren is probably the best weapon in this year's draft class. Just a very good tight end, solid route runner, very good hands. But he's a guy at the tight end position where you just give him the ball, and he's going to make guys miss. He's going to run through guys. He has very good yak ability at the tight end position. He's very athletic. It just feels like right here at number 9, I know people would like to say drafting a tight end inside the top 10 is super early, but when you're drafting Tyler Warren at number 9, I don't think that's super high. We're not talking about a tight end here. We're talking about Tyler Warren. There's a difference. So with this pick, we are going Tyler Warren. The Chicago Bears, it was interesting. I was going to go Malachi Starks, but I actually switched it up. I'm going to go Shamar Stewart. This team, I know they signed Dayo Odeyingbo. They have Montez Sweat. They have Austin Booker, and those are 3 edges that are very solid right off the bat. Obviously, Montez Sweat being the best on this team and being one of the better ones in the NFL, but this team could still add another guy into that room. And Shamar Stewart, I think has the traits and the athleticism to be a legit game wrecker at the NFL level. He's a very solid run defender already. I think if he came into the NFL right now, because I think he's a little bit of a project or needs a little bit more of developing in terms of pass rushing. But I think if he came into the league right now, he'd be a very stout run defender already because of his athleticism and his power and his ability to hold the edge. But as a pass rusher, he's somebody that really doesn't have a pass rush plan, and that's why I think he needs some more developing. But he has an insane bull rush, has the athleticism, has a very good get off for a guy that's like 6'6", 250-ish, 260-ish, 270. Just an athletic monster, and he could legit be a game maker for this Bears team, which I don't like because I'm a Packers fan, but it just feels like a really good pick right here. Another guy I was thinking about was Malachi Starks, like I said, but really like Shamar Stewart right here for this team. Next pick, we are going Will Campbell for the 49ers. Was thinking about Will Johnson, but this team needs to protect Brock Purdy. They lost Aaron Banks in free agency, and Will Campbell could either play tackle or, more importantly, play guard, which I think he will play for this Niners team and just for any team in the NFL. So with this pick, we are going Will Campbell just to protect the Niners franchise quarterback in Brock Purdy. Number 12 right here, we're going Tetairoa McMillan. Maybe the Cowboys don't make this pick. Maybe Jerry Jones throws a curveball at everybody. But if he's there at pick 12 for the Dallas Cowboys, I feel like it's a no-brainer for them to select Tetairoa McMillan. This team needs another weapon. And Tetairoa McMillan, I think, is the perfect pairing on the other side of CeeDee Lamb. McMillan is a prototypical X wide receiver. You put him on the top of the screen, And CeeDee Lamb, he's obviously a guy that could do that as well. But this Cowboys team used them a lot in motion, and they also put him a lot of snaps in the slot. And so you get a guy like Tetairoa McMillan who will just be able to stay at the top of the screen or on the sideline. And then you still have the versatility and the availability to move and put CeeDee Lamb in the slot and in motion damn near every play to get him the best looks and get him opportunities to get open and be available for Dak Prescott. I just feel like this is the perfect pairing on the other side of CeeDee Lamb. And this gives Dak Prescott a legit jump ball specialist in Tetairoa McMillan. Next pick, we are going Malachi Starks for the Miami Dolphins. This team just desperately needs more help in that secondary. They need more talent. And Malachi Starks, in my opinion, without a doubt, is the best safety in this year's draft class. An instinctual, elite ball hawk that could just play back deep and take away a whole side of the football field. I think he's worth drafting inside the top 15. I know he probably will fall, maybe, in the NFL draft. Who knows? But I think he's a very talented player and worth drafting inside the top 15 if you need a safety back there or just need more talent at the safety position. Next pick right here, like I said, I'm not doing any trades, or maybe I didn't say that yet, who knows, but I'm not doing any trades in this mock draft, so with this pick, we are going with Colston Loveland. Yes, I usually like drafting Tyler Warren right here at number 14 for this Colts team, but we did just draft Tyler Warren to the Saints, so it just makes sense. And I think Colston Loveland is the best route running tight end in this year's draft class. The dude is just very instinctive, has some good awareness, or not instinctive, but has some very good high-level IQ when running routes. He's very aware when running routes, and just makes himself available time and time again on film for quarterbacks when I watch him, man. I think he's a very secure blanket and a very elite route runner from the tight end position. It just makes a lot of sense. This is probably the last prove-it year for Anthony Richardson, so why not go out there and get him a franchise tight end and Colston Loveland to really see what he has. Next pick right here, probably my favorite pick, one of my favorite picks. I really like this player a lot. Where's linebacker? Jalon Walker to the Atlanta Falcons. This team could use a pass rusher. They could use a linebacker. And Jalon Walker could do it both. He could pass rush. He could get after the quarterback. He could pass rush. He could play the linebacker position. He offers you some great speed, sideline to sideline. And he's going to be one of those guys that, when you play the Lamar Jacksons of the world, the Jalen Hurts of the world, you need a QB spy. You need somebody that can watch out for them. Jalon Walker is the guy you put on that assignment for. He has the speed to match up with those guys, has the motor to go sideline to sideline. As the edge rusher, man, which I like him more as an edge rusher than a linebacker. He's a natural pass rusher, has the ability to use solid hand usage, has some bend, has some twitch. On film, man, I mean, he had a natural ability of just dropping his weight, turning the corner and just keeping the same speed, which is some elite stuff to do as a pass rusher. So with this pick, we are going with Jalon Walker for the Atlanta Falcons, which is a team that just desperately needs some more talent on that defense and somebody that could get home. Next pick right here, I feel like you could have I could have went with Kenneth Grant or maybe a guard like a Josh Simmons right here for the Cardinals. But Will Johnson's just too talented to pass on. And I know this Cardinals team actually has some really solid young talent in that defensive back room right now. But Will Johnson, like I just said, too talented to pass on. You get yourself a bona fide lockdown stud in Will Johnson at the cornerback one position. It just makes a lot of sense. This team could use some more defensive help. And Will Johnson, to me, is cornerback 2 in this year's draft class. I know I drafted Jahdae Barron at number 8, but I got Will Johnson as my cornerback 2 in this year's draft class. I drafted him ahead of Jahdae Barron if I was a GM. Next pick right here, this Bengals team, we don't know if they're going to trade Trey Hendrickson. I think they will because I don't know how they're going to re-sign him or give him a contract, especially because they just extended T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I just don't know how they're going to find the money to give Trey Hendrickson, the contract he desires. But maybe they do. Maybe they don't. And if they don't give him the contract they want and they do trade Trey Hendrickson, James Pierce Jr. is the perfect selection right here. They need a game wrecker. There's nobody in this year's draft class at the edge position that gets to a tackle's outside hip faster than James Pierce Jr. I have him still as a top 3 edge rusher in this year's draft class. I don't care about the character concerns. If I'm an NFL team and I need a game wrecker from the edge position and I'm so close as a defense to getting there and getting to that next step and I just need one more piece, James Pierce Jr., and if James Pierce Jr. is still on the board, I'm running to the podium. I'm skydiving to the podium. And I truly mean that. So with this pick, we are going James Pierce Jr., the edge from Tennessee. Next pick right here for the Seattle Seahawks. I did like to go with Matthew Golden a lot for this team right here at this pick, but they did sign Cooper Kupp, so I just feel like they are going to go with an interior offensive lineman. And they need a replacement for Anthony Bradford. He's definitely the weakest link on that offensive line, and Gray Zabel is the guy to do that. Very, very good guard in this year's draft class. I know it says right here he's a tackle, but at the NFL level, he's going to be more of a guard. The athleticism is very solid. The pass blocking is there. The technique with his hands are there. The light feet are there. I mean, he just sounds like a very solid pick for an NFL team that needs a guard from the interior, and this is the team that desperately needs that if they want Sam Darnold to perform well. So here we are with the next pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and with this pick, we're going Donovan Ezeiruaku, the edge from Boston College. I was going to go Jihaad Campbell, but this team could use another edge. I know they signed Hassan Reddick for a one-year deal, but you don't know what you're really getting out of Hassan Reddick, especially, older and later into his career now. And Donovan Ezeiruaku is somebody who I really do like a lot, man. He's a very polished and elite pass rusher in this year's draft class. Maybe a little bit undersized at 6'2", 240-ish, but man, I think he plays way bigger than that because of his arm reach, his bend, and the repertoire of pass rush moves he has in his arsenal. As a run defender, because of his arms, man, it's very easy for him to disengage and engage from blocks. I think his eye discipline, to me, needs some more working. But besides that, man is a pass rusher. Like I said, he's very polished. Has a lot of moves in his pass rush repertoire. Just seems like, if you're a team that needs a pass rusher, and Donovan Ezeiruaku is on the board right here, just seems like a pick that you should run to the podium to make. And this is a team that, I know they signed Hassan Reddick. They don't necessarily need to go edge, maybe in the first round still. But you don't know what version of Hassan Reddick you're getting. Next pick right here is Emeka Egbuka to the Denver Broncos. They signed Evan Ingram. This team has Cortland Sutton. They could use another weapon. And Emeka, in my opinion, is the best slot wide receiver in this year's draft class. And this is a Denver Broncos team that needs a slot wide receiver. It just makes a lot of sense. Why not go out there and get the best slot wide receiver in this year's draft class when your biggest need offensively, skill-wise, skill weapon-wise, maybe running back too, they need a running back. But skill weapon-wise at the wide receiver position room is slot wide receiver. So it just makes a lot of sense. I feel like Emeka is a safe pick, very, very safe pick. We're talking about an elite route runner, someone who has an elite has very high level IQ when running routes, has spiritual awareness when running routes. It just seems like a very good pick for this team. Next pick right here, we are going Kenneth Grant, the defensive lineman from Michigan. This team could definitely use another defensive lineman. And Kenneth Grant is a big monster, and I feel like he could play that 3-4 scheme very, very well on that odd front. We're talking about athleticism and just size in this year's draft class at the interior defensive line position. 6'3", 333. I mean, yeah, basically 339. 21 years old. I mean, there's no one else in this interior defensive line class that has that size, that athleticism, than a Kenneth Grant. It just makes a lot of sense for the Steelers team. Could have went guard as well. I was really thinking about like a Josh Simmons right there, but I really do like that pick. Next pick, we are going wide receiver for the LA Chargers, and that is Matthew Golden. This team could definitely use another wide receiver. They have Ladd McConkey. They just signed back Mike Williams, but Matthew Golden is a guy who could just run routes on all three levels, get open, and can high point the football very well. Has some very good hands in this year's draft class. Has an elite speed as well. Ran like a 4.3, 4.29 at the combine. So this is the team that just needs more weapons. It just makes a lot of sense. So here we are, pick 23 for the Green Bay Packers, and this is probably my favorite pick because I am a Packers fan. We're going to go with edge, and Mike Green's still on the board. Do not get me wrong, as a Packers fan, I'd probably take Mike Green over who I'm going to select, but we're going to go with Mykel Williams, the edge from Georgia. Just fits the defensive scheme more. In a 4-3 defensive scheme, he's a bigger dude. 6'5", 265, 20 years old, very, very young. And he's disruptive, man. Has really long arms. As a run defender, he's very, very elite. I think he's one of the better run defenders in this year's draft class. As a pass rusher, it's inconsistent at times. I think he's very solid, very good at using his hands. But some plays, it's like he goes out there with a pass plan or a pass rush plan. Then the next play, he doesn't go out there with any pass rush plan. So it's a little bit hit or miss in terms of his pass rushing on film when I watched him. But really do like what I saw still, even when he didn't win reps, because he's a bigger dude who has really solid hand usage. He is stiff, but he has some, at times, he does showcase some bend here and there. Showcases some inconsistent get off, because sometimes he's very quick when he gets off. Next play, he's really slow and choppy, but 20 years old, 6'6", 260 pounds, really, really athletic or really solid athleticism, has the height, has the weight, could be like a Danielle Hunter type edge rusher in the NFL if he gets better at pass rushing and gets more better with just using counter moves. So with this pick, we're going Mykel Williams, the edge from Georgia, for my Green Bay Packers. I really do like this pick right here for this defensive scheme. Next pick right here, it's tough. I was going to go cornerback for this team right here, but we're going to go Derrick Harmon, the defensive lineman from Oregon for this Minnesota Vikings team. They have a lot of great defensive linemen. They signed Javon Hargrave. They have Jonathan Abraham now. So they have a lot of great guys on that defensive front, but they could definitely upgrade over Harrison Phillips in that interior on that middle part. And Derrick Harmon, to me, is a guy that can do that, plus more in terms of pass rushing upside, stopping the run. He's very disruptive. Does need to clean up his tackling because he makes a lot of boneheaded misses once he gets to the backfield. But besides that, he has the ability to just simply get to the backfield with rips and just simple hand movement. Hand fighting. So with this pick, we're going Derrick Harmon, the defensive lineman from Oregon for this Minnesota Vikings team. Next pick right here for the Houston Texans. This is probably one of my favorite picks. I always kind of let him fall in mock drafts for this team because they need another tackle. Just need more offensive linemen in general. And that is Kelvin Banks, Jr., the tackle from Texas. One of the better tackles in this year's draft class, but I think he has the ability, man. I know he only played left tackle at the collegiate career, but in the collegiate level, but I think 6'4", 320, the way he's built, he has the ability to play tackle, but he has the ability to play inside at guard. And I feel like this team could either use him or at tackle or guard. This is a team that just desperately needs somebody or just needs more talent on the offensive line. And Kelvin Banks has been one of the better tackles throughout the draft process since this draft class was being talked about since last year. So it just makes a lot of sense to go Kelvin Banks Jr., the tackle from Texas, for a team that just desperately needs to protect C.J. Stroud. Next pick right here, one of my favorite picks, Jihaad Campbell to the LA Rams. This team has a nasty front seven, but they could definitely add some more athleticism and more talent into that linebacker room. And Jihaad Campbell is a guy that, in my opinion, is the best linebacker in this year's draft class. I know he has some upside as a edge rusher and as a pass rusher, but man, as a coverage linebacker, as a guy that gives you sideline-to-sideline speed, as a blitzer, as a guy that could be a QB spy, type of guy, he could do it all, man. He really, really could. I really like his coverage abilities. That's why I prefer him more as a linebacker in this year's draft class than anything else. 6'3", 244, 21 years old, very, very young. Just makes a lot of sense for this team. They have a nasty front seven already, but you could go out there and add a guy like Jihaad Campbell, who's very, very athletic and just makes this team even nastier. Next pick right here, there's a lot of ways or a lot of picks I could have gone with right here for this team, but I think I am going to go with Josh Simmons, the tackle. No, I lied, guys. I lied. I'm going to go with the interior offensive lineman right here. And that's going to be Tyler Booker, the guard from Alabama. This team could go with edge rusher. I definitely could see that. They could also go DB like Ezeiruaku Thomas. But this team needs to protect Lamar Jackson. They lost some guys in free agency. Tyler Booker, to me, is somebody who, I know people look at this average draft position by PFF and would be like, well, he's a second rounder. But he's somebody to me that if there's any guard that will be drafted in the first round, or a pure guard in this year's draft class that will be drafted in the first round, it will be Tyler Booker. I definitely think he's worth drafting in the first round. I still like Tyler Booker a fair amount in this year's draft class, and I feel like this Ravens team could use some more guys on the interior offensive line. Next pick right here, Lions fans, I did you guys a solid. I got you guys a top pass rusher in this year's draft class in Mike Green. Do I think Mike Green falls to pick 28? Hell no. But there is a lot of accusations on him. There is some concerns, I guess you could say, because of that. So there is a possibility he does fall. But in this mock draft, I really wanted to give the Lions a legit pass rusher. And Mike Green definitely fits their defensive scheme. And definitely fits what they need in terms of, pass rushing on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. I'm not going to lie, just blanked out right there. They could definitely use another guy on the other side. And Mike Green, in my opinion, is a top 5 edge rusher in this year's draft class. Needs to work on his run support. His eye discipline, to me, is very bad. But Mike Green plays at like 200 miles per hour. He plays at one speed. And that's a very good, or it could be a very bad thing at the NFL level. So with this pick, we are going Mike Green for a team that desperately needs some more edge help. With this pick right here for the Commanders, I really want to get Luther Burden for this team. But they don't need a wide receiver in the first round. With this pick, I am going to go with a cornerback, and I'm going to go with Maxwell Hairston, the cornerback from Kentucky. Just feel like he's a guy because of what he did at the combine. His speed could definitely sneak into the first round to a team later on, like the Commanders that need a cornerback, and it just makes a lot of sense for them to go cornerback. They could add some more guys into that room. They definitely could add just more talent into that secondary. Next pick right here for the Buffalo Bills. I was going to go Ezeiruaku Thomas. This is a team that could desperately add some more talent in that secondary as well, but Walter Nolen is too good to really pass upon, and this is a team that could definitely add some more talent on the other side or in the middle with Ed Oliver. And Walter Nolen is super athletic. In my opinion, probably has the second highest ceiling, or probably has the first highest ceiling in this year's draft class from the interior because of his athleticism. He is boom or bust in my opinion because of his technique that he displays on film, but if he could get better technique, engage more with his hands and his body, the athleticism is already off the charts, but if he gains the technique, I mean, this is somebody who could be a game maker from the middle as a pass rusher and as a run defender. So with this pick, we are going to watch Nolen for this Bills team that could definitely use another interior defensive lineman. Next pick right here for the Kansas City Chiefs, we're going with Josh Simons. This is a team that could use a tackle or a guard, and I feel like Josh Simons is somebody that needs to be drafted in the first round. Should have been drafted way earlier. It's just, I can't let Josh Simons fall any longer. And to round this draft off right here, this first round mock draft, this team could go a lot of places. They could go edge, they could go wide receiver, they could go guard. But we're going to go cornerback. This team could definitely add another guy. And Ezeiruaku Thomas is a guy I really do like in this year's draft class. An elite man coverage cornerback, in my opinion, the best press man cornerback in this year's draft class. You at his size on the other side of Quinton Mitchell, you got Cooper DeJean in the middle. I mean, that's a very young and talented and athletic and tall cornerback room already. So to end this mock draft, we're going with Ezeiruaku Thomas, the cornerback from Florida State, to the Philadelphia Eagles. So this is the final first round mock draft that I just created right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this mock draft. I think it's a very solid one. There's a lot of great picks. Some of my favorite picks probably would have to be Tyler Warren to the Saints, Jahdae Barron right here, number 8 to the Panthers, and then Mike Green, I guess, going to the Lions. That's a steal. But let me know what you guys think in the comments about this mock draft. It's been your boy Sports Culture. I'm out.